And here we go. We're back. We're live. This is For the Fan, episode number 157. As always, I am Will. And we got Dom and we got Jake here. Gentlemen, hello. How are you?
So, yeah, good summer to y'all.
Good summer to all of us. Oh, I made a blue. I messed up the brand color. Uh-oh. This isn't good. I was trying to get our names back on there. There they are. Okay. But yes, you can follow us on all the social media platforms down below. YouTube for the Fan Network, TikTok for the Fan Network, X for the Fan _ and Instagram for the Fan Football. Gentlemen, the next 7 weeks, technically, because the 8th week we're going to be away. So there's no 8th week. So for the next 7 weeks, we're going to be pounding down these divisions. All 32 teams are going to be talked about right here on the show. Yeah. Any expectations? Any excitement? Anything? Anything?
Sorry, Dom is too distracting right now.
Dom's having too much fun right now.
Trying to find a good color for us, guys.
I mean, I like Redskin red. I mean, that's pretty good. I'm sorry, Super Bowl era jersey or whatever it's called.
Is it legal to say that name now?
I'm saying it. Who cares?
Josh Harris.
It's funny. All right, but gentlemen, we're gonna get right into this right now. AFC North is on tap here, and you are listening to For the Fan.
You are listening to For the Fan.
And might I add, season number 5. So this is the first time we've ever had Bapple on a show. There's been Beach, okay? We've had Beaches on here before, but never a Bapple.
That's
and always the spray cranberry that sits behind there. With the Kermit doll, with the Ulafala, with the championship belts, and 24 jerseys behind me. But if you're new here, we always start out with the worst team, and we make our way towards the best team, a.k.a. the division winner for that division. So, Dom, if you want to slide them up here, we're going to start out with the Dog Pound. We're going to be going to Cleveland, Ohio, where in 2023, they made the playoffs. Joe Flacco gets off the couch after having probably 2 Thanksgiving dinners. Who knows what he was doing there? And they're trying to have consistency, maybe get back to the playoffs. The team was looking really good, especially on the defensive side. Maybe they could build something. Maybe Deshaun Watson, who showed flashes in 2023, can be the guy. And, well, yeah, he blows his Achilles out in November on a quarterback design run. And, yeah, they went through Jameis Winston, Bailey Zappi, I believe another guy as well. And, yeah, it just looked from bad to worse for Cleveland. But now the 4 pictured here are your 4 potential starting quarterbacks for week 1. And maybe might be seeing head start throughout the rest of the season. So, Dom, pull us back out. We're going to look at this roster here. And I need to start out by saying end of an era. End of an era in Cleveland. Let's look at the offense. There we go. The offense here. Yeah. Nick Chubb, not there anymore. Nick Chubb is gone. Amari Cooper's gone. Elijah Moore is gone. A very big, departure there for the Cleveland Browns. But yes, the 4 quarterbacks listed: Joe Flacco, who was with the Colts last year; Kenny Pickett, who actually snapped the football in the Super Bowl, might I add. And then they took 2 quarterbacks: Dylan Gabriel in round 3, Shedeur Sanders in round number 5, and then Watson, which who knows what's going to be happening there with him. Maybe this is the last year in Cleveland. They did adjust his contract to where they could potentially cut him and save a little bit of cash. But when I say a little bit of cash, I mean very, very little cash. And the receiving core here: Jerry Jeudy, your essential wide receiver 1, Cedric Tillman, who had flashes of really good play last year. A concussion held him out the rest of the year. Deontay Johnson. It gets pretty cold there in Cleveland besides Baltimore, so it's going to be a little interesting there for Deontay. But, yeah, Jedrick Wells, he's not there with the Browns. He's taken a year off to recover from these injuries. But let's pull us out of here. Let's do this. All right, gentlemen, what are we thinking of this Browns offense? Obviously, Jerome Ford's going to be your starter. Judkins, that might be one of your sneaky picks in fantasy this year. I would beware.
I mean, there's a good chance he is the starter, not Jerome Ford.
I
Yeah,
do
what do you
love
have
me
to
Jerome
lose?
Ford.
What do you have to lose at that point? Why not?
Well, I mean, hey, coaching staff, they did take 2 quarterbacks. It has to be an odd man out here. And I don't want to say it's a rookie, but I do want to say Kenny Pickett could be the odd guy out of this group. You're not going to draft a guy, sign him to a full extension, fully guaranteed rookie contract, and you're just going to cut him right then, like after.
No,
So I
it's
think-
the Browns. They'll just do something dumb and carry 4 quarterbacks and then IR Watson.
I think there's a dumb chance where we see all of these quarterbacks play. I think this is just no one knows how this is going to go. I doubt even they know how this is going to go. This is not a team that's built for success, certainly. I don't know, man. Kind of very much feels like this is the Browns that we used to know before the Browns became relevant, I guess. This is the waiting for the chained up vending machines or whatever of beer to be released. You know, like this is just.
Are you trying to say the Browns is the Browns?
Yeah, the Browns are very much brownsing, and I don't know. This is one of the biggest step backs I think we've kind of seen, at least in football. At least just how considerably, I don't know, insignificant this team is towards playoffs now.
I mean, if Jerry Jeudy plays to any of the ability that he played to close out the season last year, they'll be in good hands, at least at receiver for one guy. I think Tillman can make that next step. I mean, he did play really well last year before that concussion on Thursday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But then you also have Deontay Johnson, who bitched his way out of Carolina. He bitched his way off the sidelines in Baltimore. So now he's here. I don't think he's actually the slot receiver 1. I think DeAndre Carter could slide in, or even Jamari Thrash for that matter. But I mean, here, the only thing that's good on this team is the offensive line, and that is a really good group of guys up there with Conklin and Wyatt, Batonio, DeJuan Jones. It's still a really good group, and I want to see where they can bring this team moving forward, especially with, which of the Tweedledum idiot quarterback that you want to start under center. I don't want to call Joe Flacco a Tweedledee. I mean, that's probably your best chance to win, but who knows if you're trying to win, especially with the 26 quarterback draft class.
I really think Kenny Pickett's the day 1 starter.
I think
it's Joe Flacco. I really have to think it's Flacco.
I think your only path for success for this team in any kind of fashion is on pure raw talent, physicality, like just like what's the word I'm looking for? Like natural ability, natural talent. I don't think this team's just gonna put it together like it's gonna be so methodical with this quarterback being the answer. I think it's just like game to game, it's going to be like, where is natural talent going to bring you? There's talented people on the roster. There's dudes that are athletic. Like, cool. I think that's just the only thing that's really going to win you games. I don't think there's a formula for success here, and that's really unfortunate. And this is a little bit of a throwaway season, but I guess maybe we determine some things for the future. But I don't know. We're talking about this team this year, not this team for next year. So I'm not hopeful. I don't know. I just don't think you could say any 4 of these quarterbacks and their names could start at any given week, and no one's going to have a solid argument against it. So it's kind of just where we're at, The best advice here is if you play fantasy
you have
football,
fun, you won. Participation.
or if you play fantasy football, I don't recommend anyone on this team being on your team. That's what I'm saying. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if they commit hard
It's
to
a-
Judkins,
It's a Stefanski team. They're going to want to run the ball and
Yeah.
run the ball and run the ball.
I mean, they did lose DTR. They traded him to the Eagles in exchange for Kenny Pickett. Jameis Winston is the backup right now for the Giants. Then obviously Nick Chubb's gone. Donta Foreman's gone. Naheem Hines, who was there, but he also had that knee injury. So he's healthy, but he's gone. Elijah Moore, he went to Buffalo. But then you also lose Atkins and Geoff Schwam at tight end. And then you lose a lot of offensive linemen, but, James Hudson, he went to the Giants. Hakeem Adeniji went to the Cowboys. Jermaine Ifedi, and then, Jedrick Wills, as I mentioned, he's sitting out this year. So that's what he's doing.
I mean,
Let's go to want to go to defense?
At least
Or-
exists.
David and hey,
someone.
if there's someone that a rookie quarterback loves, it's his tight end.
And Harold Fanning, who is a stud as well.
I would say Njoku is probably the most established player on this roster at this given moment. I don't know. It's funny. But all right, yeah, we can
Let's head over to the defensive side of the ball here, where, drum roll please, do. Myles Garrett, he had a contract dispute, and all money makes everything feel so much better. He signs a monumental, I don't even know how much money he signed. It was just disgusting money. But hey, money heals everything. But they do go out, they trade back in the draft. Well, they trade back from number 2 to number 5. They acquire a first-round pick for 2026. They get Mason Graham out of Michigan. And then they get Carson Schlesinger out of UCLA. Am I correct there, Jake?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, well, we don't know. Okay, that's good. But then, looking at the secondary, Greg Newsome's still there. Denzel Ward is still there. Delpit, who's been, emerging. Emerson's also there. They got a really good defensive group. JOK, he's out for the year. He had some, I think, a heart issue, and he had to just they had to just shelve him. It was something that was pretty significant that they had to, get him the appropriate medical attention that he needed. But then they bring in Jordan Hicks from Minnesota. Devin Bush comes in from Seattle. Jerome Baker from Tennessee. So you do have guys that can do that. They can fill in, and also Shoyinka from the Buccaneers, 2021 first-round pick from the year they won the Super Bowl. But yeah.
This is at least
the defense is going to help you stay in games. That's what this defense is going to do. But can the offense help provide that your team is not going to be sitting on the field? Your defense is not going to be on the field for 40 minutes a game.
this is a competent defense. It's actually a decent line. You're going to get pass rush because, like you said, money buys you sacks on this team.
Buys one guy sacks.
One guy, yeah, it's true.
And also beers. Let's not forget the beers.
Whatever. This is a very competent defense. I could see this defense being the 10th best defense in the league, kind of thing. I mean, over the last 2 seasons, this was a top defense. No.
Last year I think it fell off a lot, but the year before it was one of the top defenses in the league. I think it was I want to say it was number 1 in 2023.
Yeah,
don't quote me, but it was up there.
So I don't think you're losing too much as far as being a pretty solid defense. Now in this division, the standard is great defense. So
great defense or the Bengals, essentially.
Yeah, that's also true. So I don't know. You're still not competing very, hard in this division, unfortunately. But this is a competent defense. This is a defense that, may continue, like we've seen in the past for the last couple of years, keep opposing teams to lower scores. All right. Maybe it gives you a chance.
So I see this as the upset team. Are they going to compete for playoffs? Probably not. But they're going to want to run the ball. I don't see a reason with that line, the running backs, why they can't. They have a defense that'll keep them in games. It's usually a recipe to steal at least 2 or 3 games from guys who shouldn't.
Yeah.
And you're going to probably knock a guy out of the playoffs that probably could have been in there if they beat the Browns.
It's the buyer beware if you're a bubble team, the trap game.
That's true.
A snowy game, the dog pound. How can you not? Do we want to go to...
do like the Hicks addition with Garrett there. I mean, that's nice. But we've also seen them add name on the defensive line after name on the defensive line or pass rusher every season. That's their thing. They always go out and get a guy that's pretty recognizable, but I don't really know if they ever do anything on this team.
No, it's because the whole defense is schemed to get Garrett his sacks.
Yep. They're good decoys. So.
Oh yeah, they also added how could we forget Damonte Kazi? How could we forget name in yellow? I should have mentioned that, but missed that one. Should we go to the schedule here?
Yes, sir. Let's see it.
All right, Dom. What was the total that you saw?
Okay, so I saw, based on the betting markets or whatever their lines were, whatever, that the upside for this team is 5.5 wins and like a 9.1% chance at playoffs, I believe. So that's giving you double-digit losses. That's where we're at.
I literally just counted 5 or 6.
Yeah, so okay.
Yeah, I'm at 5, and look at that, just that back end, weeks 14 to 18. You're playing the Titans who, they're probably not competing for the playoffs. The Bears, who knows what the Bears are going to do? The Bills, the Bills should be in the playoffs. The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers last hurrah, they're going to be, going around trying to rally him. And then the Bengals, who knows what the Bengals are going to be doing come week 18 and their money situation. I think they can win at least a game or two in the division. I think they can also pull off a win against the Patriots and the Jets, both on the road. London, I don't even know what's going to go on there in London. Good luck.
Ultimately,
I think this is 5 or 6, personally.
Yeah, I can see them getting a few wins in October and November.
They can honestly pull off week 1 too, because the Bengals in week 1 are like the worst team to ever exist in the NFL. It literally looks like they're trying to reinvent the forward pass.
Yeah,
it's both hands. Just
you're right. That is very accurate. So okay, so I think we're all kind of sticking in the same bracket of 5-ish wins. I mean, just the ceiling of 7. Is your potential great season you could have, I feel like. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's always fun though, because we say this about a team and then we completely eat our words by the end of the season.
We're not eating our words here. I promise you that. We're not eating any dog shit from the dog pound. We're not doing anything like that.
I can cite the Broncos last year. We were like, this is
that was everyone from the Broncos. Okay, that was everyone talking about the Broncos.
You're not wrong, but yeah, I don't know. So, what did they do last season? 3-14.
3-14. So
cool. Maybe improve.
I mean, hey, any improvement from the win total year prior is a good thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Shall we move on to the other team in Ohio? We're gonna go down whatever road it is. We're gonna, we're gonna take the airport from Cleveland to Cincinnati. And we're going to go down to Cincinnati, where in 2023, Burrow gets hurt. They were just derailed with injuries, and they missed out in the playoffs. 2024, they got off to an extremely slow start, 0-3, losing to the Commanders on Monday Night Football. They fight back. They were 4-8 at one point. They win the last 5. Joe Burrow puts up a career year. Jamar Chase is a Triple Crown receiving champion. And they miss out in the playoffs with the Broncos playing a resting Chiefs team. And they're trying to figure out what's going to go on here. And look at these two right here. And probably somewhere in this picture, you'll find T. Higgins, who we're going to probably be mentioning in the next 33 seconds. So if you want to pull us back out here, Dom, we're going to go right into this offense where the money is tied. The bank has been called. The bank's open. T. Higgins, he's staying. He gets a 4-year extension. Jamar gets a big major extension. Beats out Justin Jefferson by I think $3 or something. Wow. Joe Burrow, he's there making his big money contracts. They bring in Lucas Patrick from the Saints. They draft Dylan Fairchild in the 3rd round this past draft. Samaje Perine comes in. There's not a lot of ads because of where all the money's being thrown to, which is essentially wide receiver 1, 2, and quarterback. So just like the Miami Dolphins. But Mike Gesicki, he gets an extension. He stays there after his best career year by far. But yeah, Zach Moss, he's still there. Chase Brown, the presumable number 1 RB. But yeah, what are we looking at here as I'm trying to I closed out that tab, so I can't even open it back up. We're gonna figure it out. But
oh God, can we get over the whole we look terrible in the first 3-4 weeks of the year?
Yeah, dude. But they still have the same coaching staff, right?
I think they got rid of Lou Anarumo. He was fired. So the new defensive coordinator, I think it's the guy from Notre Dame that came in. So rejuvenating on the defensive side of the football. Offensive, they haven't really been the same since Callahan left, but they kind of look better without him.
I mean, Zach Taylor's a joke. We can all say it, right?
Yeah,
he's been there since 2019. Andy Dalton's last year. AJ Green, Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, and a good Georgia product wide receiver.
Yeah, it's bordering on like Marvin Lewis territory already, where it's like, how do you?
I mean, but Marvin Lewis never won a playoff game though in his tenure. At least, like we saw the Bengals at least make it.
At the end of the day, what are we doing here? Like this guy is a joke.
You have the tools, for sure.
But this isn't the team where it's like this is like the Browns. Like, okay, Browns defense is really good, but they're not going to be good if they're on the field for 40 minutes. And it's like the Bengals offense here. The Bengals offense isn't going to be good if you're on the field for 40 minutes a game.
Besides that, like the play calls and the penalties, and it just nothing seems to flow or ever makes sense. Besides, oh, here comes Burrow and the top 2 receivers just making plays.
And decent run. Always decent run. It's never like spectacular. It can be supporting. So like I don't even think that's an issue. You give them enough of a chance to let Burrow and the receivers do their thing. Like that's always the case. You're good there. The one thing though that we constantly talk about is the offensive line for the Bengals and Joe Burrow. And
it's really not bad. Like Mims, he kind of has grown into that role at right tackle, especially at the end of the year. Orlando Brown, I mean, hey, it's Orlando Brown. Hopefully he could block. I think he said Joe Burrow's his favorite quarterback to block for, but I think he meant to say Patrick Mahomes, but that's another topic for another day.
So I did a little Google search on Lucas Patrick, and I can tell you I did not see it is overwhelmingly negative feedback about Lucas Patrick.
Well, the guy he's replacing is quite possibly the worst offensive lineman I have ever seen in Alex Kappa.
I don't know too much about Lucas Patrick, but
if it can't be worse than Alex Kappa, then at least there's something going for you. There has to be something going.
Worse, you actually have achieved something because
I mean I'm seeing like below average at C is what he's been described. He's not good is a headline. I mean, like it's just kind of rough game. It's
all right. We have a number of right guards that are going to be at a camp battle. You can have one of them for one disgruntled defensive end who we may or may not talk about.
We'll see.
Defensive ends.
I'm curious because I feel like this was not maybe the answer. So I am curious to see if their constant year-to-year issue gets solved or not. So otherwise, personnel on this team, nothing's changed really. And we know what we expect on this offense. Ultimately. Just need more consistency.
You need to be able to block so you can actually run the ball.
Yeah.
So let's go to the defensive side of the football where let's talk about some defensive ends here. Trey Hendrickson, he wants to get paid. Yeah, he's holding out. He's pretty much dug into the trenches here. He is not moving. Shamar Stewart has a weird clause in his contract to where if he gets hurt, essentially the Bengals can void all guaranteed money. So he's pretty much dug into where he is. He doesn't want that on there because, being the 18th overall pick, making $11 million, $12 million, you're making good money. It's life-changing money, especially at the rookie's age. He's dug in there. They bring in TJ Slayton Jr. from Green Bay, but essentially it's really all the same here. There's not a whole lot of difference. The only difference is they did bring in the defensive coordinator from Notre Dame, so maybe they can rejuvenate the defense a little bit more. They did release Jermaine Pratt, and then I forgot Logan Wilson. No, he's still there. Is he? Yeah, he is. Who's the guy that retired? Drawing a blank.
Pratt retired.
Yep, Jermaine Pratt retired after 7 seasons, only 29 years old.
I was confused, those two.
Sam Hubbard. There you go.
Sam Hubbard, who was going to get cut, and he said, I'm going to retire. And he dug in and retired. There's really nothing a lot of here. It's really just, okay, are they going to pay Trey Hendrickson after already shelling out $60 million between T. Higgins and Jamar Chase?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, the news doesn't look all too promising on Hendrickson. It's a lot of trade talk.
Oh, I don't think he's going back. He's gonna get traded somewhere.
A lot of headlines of like, oh, Dallas should replace Micah with Trey Hendrickson, or like, San Francisco.
I think that's the worst thing, because like, okay, you're gonna trade Micah. Micah wants even more money than Trey Hendrickson, so it's like you're pretty much you're screwing yourselves there if you try to trade him. But you can get a lot of value for Trey Hendrickson.
I know there's some guy you normally poaches around this time of year.
He sniffs around the bush.
Him and his binoculars.
Does he like Skyline chili? Do we know? Do we know if he likes Skyline chili? The Cincinnati special.
I don't know. Again,
there's nothing impressing to me on this defense. It's okay. Can the new guy, what's his name from Notre Dame, scheme up something that's actually good, and you're not going to get torched to where Joe Burrow is the one that has to throw 45 touchdowns again next year and have to dig you guys out of deficits year in, year out. That's kind of like my question.
I just think with better coaching, because so the dumb Cam Taylor Britt things also don't happen. But I don't think this.
The weird pass interference calls down the field, coincidentally in Arrowhead.
Yeah, those are unavoidable. You have to actually blow them out to win those games.
I don't know.
Assuming Trey Hendrickson's there and they stop screwing around with a weird clause that's never existed before for Shamar Stewart, like, it's not a terrible defense.
My issue is, this is just like the offensive line. It's the same conversation I'm gonna have, where they were a bottom 10 defense last year. Not really anything changed. Potentially, especially if you don't have Trey Hendrickson, it really could get worse. So, like, personnel-wise, just looking at the depth chart, here we are. Do we expect anything to get better or not? I personally think we do, because I feel like you don't see a defense just be that bad twice in a row like that on a team that's a playoff team. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
I really think the biggest improvement for the defense is the O-line block so they can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're not on the field every play of the game.
That's valid. Hopefully.
Like, a defense that plays as much as theirs has to play as much as theirs will never be good. Period.
Yeah. I mean, that's valid.
Shall we move over to schedule?
Yeah, let's.
All right, schedule here. 9-8 was the tempo last year, and last 2 weeks of the season could either be played on a Saturday or a Sunday with flex scheduling, especially week 17. But yeah, I think your hardest competition is going to be week 1. You have to shake off that rust early and quick if you want to, compete. Because hey, listen, last year, let's pull out for a real quick second here, okay? Your pullout game's not that good. All right, there we go. The Patriots, okay? That was the tale of 2 different teams last year, where the Patriots, if they lost week 1, could have been the number 1 overall pick team, and the Bengals could have been in the playoffs. But those roles reversed to where now the Bengals were out, and the Patriots only fell a few spots, but they still ended up getting the guy that they wanted. But then, week 2, they played the Chiefs. They played the Chiefs really tough, but, penalties cost them, and they lost the game. And then the Commanders showed up on their first primetime game in God knows how long and thumped them in Cincinnati, of all places. So they had to start from 0-3 and work their way back. But looking at it, okay, Monday Night Football at Denver, that's going to be a very tough battle. I mean, Week 17 was great last year. You do have a lot of primetime games. Thursday Night Football against the Steelers. At least you're not in Pittsburgh. You're home for that. And then Miami, which probably will get flexed out. Let's be honest here.
You know what the issue is
Oh, God.
I really have a hard time seeing any improvement from last year. My issue is the string of teams they face in like October, starting in October or September, really, where you face the Broncos, then the Lions, then coming off of that, the Packers, then the Steelers, which is tough in Pittsburgh. So that's not a fun matchup for this team. They get a nice, no offense, Will, but they do get a nice, Jets game, and then Steelers again. So that's
I got 11 wins.
Fun stretch. You have 11 wins.
I got 11 wins.
I don't have that much.
I
I
have
got like 7.
Yeah,
I think they could get. I mean, last year I think they're going to continue hot like they did last year, where they finished 5 wins. I think they could win at least the first 3 games. I think they'll drop against Denver, drop against Detroit. They'll win against Green Bay. Short week against Steelers. They're going to lose there. They're going to thump the Jets. They're going to thump the Lions.
I went 3 wins through the end of October.
That's how I feel. I'm having a hard time justifying.
I even say they split. They split against the Ravens, obviously. But then they'll play. Oh, they're at Miami. Oh, okay. I thought that was at home. So I was like, okay, cold. Yeah, Bengals win.
Also, September through October, like travel sucks.
Yeah.
You go from at Minnesota, at Denver, back to Detroit, back to Green Bay. Then you're home for 3 weeks.
That's what I'm saying.
You can finally get a rhythm going from there. But
that's what I'm saying. Is that stretch right there is not an easy stretch. And then going straight into playing Pittsburgh.
On top of they always start slow.
Yeah, it's. I'm really having a hard time justifying more than 9 wins. Like 9 wins is kind of as much as I can muster up for this team right now. Honestly,
again, if the O line looks much better, then it's going to be more than 7. It's going to clearly be more than 7, 8 games. But
it's true.
As we saw them, and as we know them to kind of be right now, like it's not pretty.
Yes.
For all the talent in the world they have, it's just that they don't have the details and they don't have the trenches.
We went through their roster, their coachings. The head coach is the same.
I forgot to ask the question. With the Browns. We got to ask the question. What's going to make the season successful? I mean, we've been missing the question this entire time.
For the Browns?
Brother. Well, no, we're talking about the Bengals here. We're not. Well, the Browns are done. Okay, we're not talking about them. It's all about the Bengals now.
No, a team with Joe Burrow, these 2 receivers, this same head coach, stuff like that. Your successful season is at least making the Super Bowl. I would say winning the Super Bowl. There's not really a cool, we made conference championship. Like that's not even a exciting thing for this team, I think. They know they should be competing. Joe Burrow has gotten there. So getting there again is not like the biggest accomplishment. It's not like, hey, we got past that step. No. You winning the Super Bowl is what I call success for this team at this moment. I don't really think you're not setting up for next season. There's what do you have to accomplish that Joe Burrow hasn't accomplished yet? That is not winning the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I think that's a far reach.
It is a far reach. I know, but what else? What do you call success for this team on this season?
You got to get back to the playoffs at least. If not, I think Zach Taylor. That's 3 years in a row.
That shouldn't be baseline. That shouldn't be
it absolutely should be baseline because they went from basically like
Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback. You have a top 5 receiving duo. Like you have a top 3 young receiver in Jamar Chase. Like
then you need to be accomplishing.
Yeah, you got to be in the playoffs at least. If not, Zach Taylor, you're out. You gotta get rid of him.
I don't know. I have a hard time.
Hey, there'll be a lot of buyers for this team. Like trust me. Like a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, I want to coach Joe Burrow. Oh, hey, look at this receiving duo. Like. You'll find people out of the woodwork that are going to be like, I want to coach this team if it was to become available.
That means you probably don't have the best season, or you kind of just get eliminated right away in the playoffs. I don't know.
There's a good chance they don't. There's a very good chance they have another bad year.
Yeah, which is just not okay. Not okay.
And the vibes are super low with all the bullshit off the field at the moment.
And you just can't have just another season go by. These dudes get older. Like, you just can't. We're not. What are we doing? You know, it's been. When did Joe Burrow make Super Bowl? What year was that?
21.
21.
It's been 4 years since then, man. You just can't.
But see, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing for the hope is whenever Joe Burrow actually like makes it in, because it wasn't even high seeds the last two other times.
Yeah,
like he is one of the best playoff performers in the sample that he has in the whole league.
100%.
He went Super Bowl and lost a close game, and then conference championship the next year and lost to the Chiefs.
Yeah. But this is why I'm saying I have a hard time saying that success for this team is.
But they weren't
anything short.
Stud teams that made it those years either. They were just snuck in and
I don't know.
On runs because they're that talented and that's what they do.
I mean, winning this division would be decent for them. Winning this division over the Ravens.
I don't think they win. I don't think they win the division, man. I don't.
I'm just trying to say what I'm considering success for this team. I mean, that's it. You need to be dominant in some sort of fashion to the point where it's showing on this in the standings.
Honestly, a successful year for them is getting out to a hot 4-0 start,
fixing some of the issues. Yeah, honestly,
just showing signs of improvement at all.
Yeah.
If you don't go 0-2 or 0-3 to start the season, that's improvement. But how could you close out the season?
Yeah, improvement is different than successful season to me, though. I don't know.
Well, let's say success because that's all that's held them back the last 2 seasons.
It's true. Yeah, we'll see.
With all the issues and all the nonsense, if they just don't start slow the last 2 or 3 years, they're right in the mix for what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough division. If you win this division, that's huge. That's an accomplishment. I consider that up there. Now you're talking about Joe Burrow, who we consider a top quarterback in the league, top 3 in that position of accomplishment, at least for a quarterback up there. That's what I'd like to see. That would be success. Now you're performing as kind of what we consider you to be performing as, but can't be last year again. I like Will's 11 wins over our sub 500.
17 ties? Well, how do you get that?
Would that make you playoffs? I don't know how that works.
I don't even know how that math works. The math I don't think would be mathing correctly.
So yeah, this is a tough.
It counts a 500 season.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right? Is that the only way? I will say, to the odds and what they have them at 9.6 wins. It's kind of where we were
I'm only used to hearing about 9.5. Like, where the fuck is the 6 part coming?
I don't know. And a 58% chance at playoffs. So, which is kind of like, yeah, I mean, that's.
Well, can you sort that by percentages?
Yeah. Of which?
The playoff percentages.
Dom, before we move on, I have to ask you. You got to make the wheel. You got to make the wheel.
Okay, I could do that.
I know it's going to take you like 15 seconds.
Listen, that wheel might get, the beef might
Listen, as long as the wheel doesn't pick the Jets really early on, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. But we are going to continue here. Let's see. We're going to do this. And there we go. So 2023 saw Kenny Pickett did not want to play. He didn't want to risk injury. Mason Rudolph started a playoff game for them. And yeah, kind of imploding from the get-go there. Then they bring in Russell Wilson on a veteran minimum contract. They trade for Justin Fields from Chicago. They looked really good early on with Fields, and they go over to Russ. Russ looked like the Russ of old, which was really cool to see. But then, obviously, his danger witch and high knees started kicking in, and the team just started falling apart from there. Team was not really showing up. They weren't playing up to par. They weren't playing up to standards here. And, well, yeah, I got nothing else to say here. But this man here at 42 years old, going to be 43 in early December, is trying to hoist a Lombardi one final time after the Jets kind of told him to kick rocks. He is there, and we're going to look at the offense here. The Steelers did something that the Steelers don't do. They acquired a receiver. They trade a second-round pick here for DK Metcalf. They bring in Aaron Rodgers to be the guy, a whole new quarterback room that wasn't even there a year ago with Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Skylar Thompson. They trade for Jonnu Smith. Pat Fryermuth is still there. The offensive line is still really good. They bring in Caleb Johnson via the draft. Jaylen Warren's the lone veteran that's there in that backfield. Najee Harris leaves. He goes down to the Chargers with Harbaugh. But yes, Kenneth Gainwell is there. Trey Sermon, who's trying to still find his footing in the league. He's been in for like 4 years. But this is what we're looking at here as Aaron Rodgers' final stop before maybe stop the kitten.
It's done. Like, this is it.
Yeah, he signed a 1 year unless, Good. But hey, he's married. To who? No one's seen the girl, but he's married to the game. I appreciate the dedication there.
Can I just say this is the most Arthur Smith looking ass team I've ever seen? Like offense, you have one receiver, you got a bunch of tight ends.
Listen, he has Jonnu Smith. Like, here, if there's anyone to take a fantasy number 1 overall, I think it's Jonnu Smith. He made him a superstar, and Kyle Pitts had to suffer there in his last year in Atlanta.
How did they get better? Please tell me.
Between Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and Skylar Thompson, I think they got a bit better at quarterback. Just a bit, not a whole lot. I think DK Metcalf going there. It's a bit of surprise. 5 years, $135 million that they paid him. They don't pay receivers. They always trade him away. George Pickens got shipped out because apparently Rodgers didn't want him around. But yeah, Robert Woods. I mean, hey, Woods is a reliable receiver. I mean, I think they should have brought in Amari Cooper personally. I really think they should have. You got DK who can, go over the top, and Amari who's your possession guy. You have Roman Wilson who hasn't really proven himself last year, and then Scotty Miller. I forgot he was in the league, to be honest. He was somewhere. I forgot he was there. But if there's going to be anything, I think the offensive line can honestly help them a lot, but I mean, it goes down to Aaron Rodgers, and what will Aaron Rodgers do? They already brought the last 2 years they brought in all his players with the Jets. This year, the Steelers are bringing in guys that he might be in someone's ear telling them to bring in.
Like, you need 2011 Aaron Rodgers for this team to win a Super Bowl.
I think you need any of the Aaron Rodgers. Like, you could add 2020 and 2021. I mean, he balled out. That's the older Rodgers though. Yeah, so
no one's seen him.
He died. That dude
put
died with the Achilles.
Put that man on a milk carton. He's gone. Like, he hasn't. No, that
missing
that guy that last year in Green Bay.
That's true too.
Like, that guy is gone.
I don't know. Good when he got his buddy Devontae back in New York, and that was just the only thing.
He did the most for himself for when he was on the Jets.
He still couldn't pass 4,000 yards with the Jets, and he had Devontae Adams for half the season.
Exactly. So I don't know. I
think he might be out there because that apparent meeting with Aaron Glenn and Rodgers where he says, "You don't know who I am," and Aaron Glenn says, "You don't know who I am."
I really would love to know what Colton would say about this team. We might have to get a take.
Golly.
Yeah, I really want to know his opinion for this team because I'm thinking his opinion might just be, hey, we probably go 9-8. And that's the opinion because that's just every year now.
Oh, my God. They got Cordell Patterson.
Yes, they had him last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the entire Atlanta Falcons that you need. Cordell Patterson can run the ball. Jonnu Smith blocks and catches the football. Jonnu Smith breaks the receiving record of receptions in a year. I mean, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just
the script writers couldn't script this any better. I mean, come on. Scordell, Jonnu, like, come on. Devontae Adams gets traded from LA. Who knows?
I got nothing. Really, honestly.
I got nothing else. If we want to go over to the defense here. Where, listen, there is a lot of big moves here, but I think we got to talk about the bigger one here who's been there since 2017. TJ Watt, he wants a new extension. He wants to be the highest paid defensive player in football. The Steelers are basically just trying to let his contract play out. So that's a situation to watch. They bring in Darius Slay. They trade for Jalen Ramsey, and they exchange it with Minkah Fitzpatrick returning to Miami, who hasn't been there since 2018 and a little bit of the 2019 season. So it's been a really long time. But Jalen Ramsey, another big, puzzling, shocking piece of this defense now. And also Juan Thornhill from the Browns, a really reliable safety. And also Derek Harmon, my bad, defensive tackle out of Oregon, drafted in the first round this year. And also, is this the last year of Cam Hayward? Been there since 2011, year 15. He's been there for a while. I think him and Cam Jordan are going to like hold hands across the finish line together. They're going to just say, you know what, let's retire at the same time. The battle's over.
And that other dude in the division, man, long time. Or Jaguar? No, never mind. I don't remember.
Are you thinking about Brandon Graham? He already retired.
No. Damn. I forget what his name was, but
First time.
he might still be on the Ravens. I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah, Patrick Queen, who really, I mean, hey, Ravens kind of kicked him out. He showed up. He was playing really well. Peyton Wilson, if he steps up a little bit more, he could be a really reliable piece too. Alex Highsmith, he got his extension, so $84 million for him. I think he got it like midseason last year. So this is a Pittsburgh Steelers team that's going to play rough against you, and they're going to do everything in their power to make sure you're not going to be able to run the ball, pass the ball. They're going to make sure, this is everything that we saw from the 70s and 80s, 90s, 2000s. Like,
this looks like the same team that they do this every year. They make additions, but they also make subtractions. So at the end of the day, it's net zero.
Yeah, which is still very competitive, but
it's just enough to once again be the same mediocre mid team that wins games and then loses games they shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone gets excited because they made a bunch of moves and they're the Steelers. But like, is Jalen Ramsey better, the same, or worse than Minkah Fitzpatrick?
Well, Jalen Ramsey's only played in warm weather. I mean, he played in Jacksonville, which, it gets down to like 50 probably when they're playing there. Then he was in LA, which LA, is always 70 and sunny. Then he was in Miami, which is hot as shit.
Like, Ogunjobi's gone, so they have now this Harmon. Like, every time they make a move, it's just a lateral move. Every time. They just shuffle the deck chairs around the Titanic and pretend that they're still like.
Oh yeah, that's how I described the trade. It was just the shuffling of the Titanic chairs.
Like, that's the facade of the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Is they still think it's Terry Bradshaw and the Iron Curtain. They're winning Super Bowls and they're just mediocre, can barely make a playoff game, let alone win one.
I don't like the over the hill dudes. Like Darius Slay, I think we all know is not what Darius Slay used to be. I think
Darius Slay would definitely be moving to safety because like Beanie Bishop played really good last year.
Jalen Ramsey, I don't think is quite the.
I think he got like a year left of like the Jalen Ramsey before it starts to tires are falling off.
Probably half a year of the Darius Slay because for the last couple of years he's been no play Slay.
Yeah.
Until second half of last season when he became his old self again.
You're gonna have pass rush, cool. It's gonna be great, cool. You're gonna have a competent back end. That's nice. They'll keep you in games. You still need the offense to perform. You go 9-8. This is
like they can't possibly pull off a trip over 9-8 once again, can they?
Yes, it's Tomlin. Unless Rodgers just has that bone in his, thigh that he's just like, you know what? Let's go under 500. I'm tired of this.
Tell you what, that'd be a heck of a season for this team.
All right, let's go to the schedule here where we got it's the one schedule I couldn't find.
See, I told you there's always some, man. There's always
I pulled this off of the Steelers website because I would have thought maybe, someone would want to make it like a phone back, like a computer background or something.
Yeah.
Let's take this down so we can see the bottom ones. So, I mean, big revenge game week 1, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, Justin Field and the Steelers. So that's a big one. I'm going to already call it 12-4 final. So, yeah, Jets get 2 safeties, and that's that. But yeah, you're home for Seattle, then DK Metcalf's game, and then you're in New England, and then in Ireland for the very first Ireland game, or IRL in real life, whatever you want to call it there. Really early bye, though. Early October, super early bye. But then, you're playing Cleveland, you're at Cincinnati, and then it's Green Bay, which is Rodgers' maybe potential 32nd win against the franchise in NFL history, being him up there with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, Brett Favre. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta crunch the numbers here.
I'm not even bothering. You know that, right? I'm just gonna say 9 and call it a day.
I'm gonna say 10-7. I'll say, okay, let's go 1 over the projected 9-8 total.
Honestly, I see them doing the same as last year. Start hot and fall apart. The way the schedule's set up.
I'm not gonna lie. I did the numbers, counted the wins as I went down that schedule, and I got.
What did the calculation say, Dom?
Please say 9.
What did the mousetrap game say?
Yeah, 8.1 wins. And it's where is it? 8.1 wins, 36% chance at playoffs, which I'm kind of surprised about, but I guess, but whatever.
Because
I don't know, that early bye is gonna bite them in the ass. That's really gonna just like
really
I said that about the Eagles last year, and it was the best thing that was possible.
It seems that betting data, sports books have them at 8 and 9. So,
Tomlin's gonna take that to heart.
Yeah, dude.
We'll see that when they get to camp later this month.
Can't believe
it's this month.
And win that extra game.
Shall we move on?
Please.
Shall we go to Baltimore here, where a year ago, 2023, Lamar Jackson won MVP, and 2024, they're trying to capitalize on it, falling short in the AFC Championship game. They acquired Derrick Henry, and it makes one of the best backfields you ever saw with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, only stuff that you could see in Madden. Zay Flowers was still there, trying to elevate his game. Yeah. Isaiah Likely emerged, which was pretty cool. They make it the playoffs. They win the division. They win. I forgot who they played the wild card round. Drawing up a gigantic blank of who it was. But then, obviously, they won their wild card game. They go into Buffalo, where Mark Andrews makes the unfortunate 2 drops and cost them the game. And, well,
seems to be that Mark Andrews, because I guess that's a thing now.
It is definitely now a thing.
Yeah, it definitely is a thing. There's too much evidence.
Same play, too.
Same play, yeah.
Same play, same everything. But Lamar Jackson, 41 passing touchdowns a year ago. I think he was robbed of MVP. He really was.
Well, yeah.
Josh Allen, I mean, he threw 28 touchdown passes. I mean, that means Aaron Rodgers should have been, because Aaron Rodgers threw 28 touchdown passes. If you're going by that logic, I mean,
not know that. That's crazy. But I mean, here's the thing. Whatever, you just flip flop Lamar's MVP years, and it makes sense. So I mean, like whatever. He has the same amount of MVPs as he should have, I guess, and that's where I'm at with it. Done.
Neither of the quarterbacks should have won the MVP last year, but that's just me.
Also true.
But looking at the offense here, they acquire Cooper Rush to be the backup. DeAndre Hopkins comes in from Kansas City. Rashad Bateman, I believe he got his extension this year. Zay Flowers entering year 3. The offensive line is still there, and it's still really good. They acquire some other pieces there. Derrick Henry gets a 2-year extension. Justice Hill. Keaton Mitchell, can he get back to what we saw in 2023 prior to the ACL tear? Maybe. I mean, a good speed guy. But I think Mark Andrews is going to be working his way down this depth chart at tight end, and Isaiah Likely is going to be working his way up. I mean, I saw Charlie Kohler get more passes early on than Mark Andrews. Then Andrews eventually turned it up by the end of the year. But yes, what are your guys' thoughts on here? Oh, yeah, Joseph Noteboom from the Rams. They brought in to be the backup of Ronnie Stanley.
My first thought is I will always support a team that supports fullbacks.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Patrick Ricard.
Is that is that really also a second fullback that they have, or is that?
Yeah, that's a undrafted free agent. So
okay,
probably won't make it.
Hey, camp competitions. That's what you do. You got to get your fullbacks some competition. Will they make the team? Who knows? But hey, maybe if they're good enough, they'll make the practice squad. They don't make fullbacks like they used to. They don't. But
Patrick Ricard's a full-time fullback.
Yeah.
So
that's a fullback. hands down.
I thought he was a defensive tackle / fullback.
I mean, listen, all right. This offense is the same offense we're seeing.
Is that not the same thing? Look at my goal stat.
Yeah. So whatever. I think we can move past this offense. We all know what we're looking at. We all know where.
I mean, it's only DeAndre Hopkins. Can he rejuvenate his career? I mean, with the Chiefs, it was meh. It wasn't really anything exciting. But also, the Ravens are another team where, you are a receiver and you go there, and it's kind of like the end of your career, essentially.
I also don't think him and Lamar have this phenomenal connection that, he's had with. I mean, I don't know. Whatever, dude. It doesn't matter. Here we are. I don't think too much changes with D-Hop or not. Defense?
Let's
go to the defense here. We had a comment here in the chat here, and I forgot. It was about the Steelers. It was a UK Steelers fan. So we're being seen across the pond, which is pretty exciting. There we go. Paul Barrett. First Steelers game. Looking forward to it.
Nice.
I hope Paul has a great time there. But
Yeah.
yes, let's look at the defense here. They acquired Jaheir Alexander. They draft Malachi Starks out of South Carolina. There's not really a lot of newer pieces to talk about. Yes, you brought in Mike Green in the second round, but this defense is kind of here. And oh man, I forgot who it was. Defensive coordinator is. It was a former linebacker for the Ravens.
I don't know, but I'm not seeing Jair Alexander on here.
He is on the right cornerback on the bottom there. He's right above Marlon Humphreys. So it's Nate Wiggins, Jaheir Alexander, Marlon Humphreys.
Oh, there he is.
But yes, let's kind of zoom out here for a second, Dom. If Jaheir Alexander plays anywhere like he did with the Packers when healthy, I mean, this is a steal of a signing for the Ravens. And now they just add another corner for this cornerback room.
That's
and a defense that's
nuts.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy.
That's like an unfair secondary.
If they're all healthy, forget about it. And they don't have. It was only Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks. They had two other safeties, but I think they let them go.
They're all first round picks.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts, dude.
I think Jair Alexander was about 20th overall too. So it was 15 and 20 somewhere in there, I think. So they're all the same draft value too.
Wasn't Chidobe too?
Yes.
No, Chidobe was a second.
I think he was a third. Yeah, with Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's certainly has not been bad in his career, at least.
Well, I mean, the last couple of years, coming off the ACL, he's not been that good.
I guess whatever. This is why they've remained where they've remained, and
it's a great defense right there.
Can I talk about their defense and how the Ravens defense is good, or am I going to get slack about that a couple years ago?
I just said it was a great defense. Well, I sat silent that whole time while you guys were going off a couple years ago, and I'm just this looks pretty good to me, but
yeah, I got nothing bad to say about this, to be honest with you.
Listen, this team, I think this team is built to make a deep playoff run, and that's exactly what they should do. They should obviously win the AFC North for the third consecutive year.
Well, I can already tell you what makes a successful year for them.
Yeah. So what will make 2025 successful for the Baltimore Ravens?
Lamar not choking in the playoffs.
Yep. You need to do the thing.
He's awful in the playoffs. Nobody really wants to talk about it, but he's been awful.
I agree.
It's real.
It is real.
I mean, that's it. You just need, like you said, built for a deep playoff run, like they've been built for a deep playoff run, and they kind of have to be, and they haven't made the deep playoff run. So let's see the deep playoff run. That's what makes this a successful team.
The only thing holding them back right now is Lamar
in the playoffs.
Great regular season guy. Playoffs,
phenomenal.
We're gonna have to figure it out in the playoffs.
Yeah. He's going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out. Yeah. I mean, the team's gotten better, which is the most insane thing to say ever. So let's do it. I mean, that's it.
Thank you. Zachary Orr, former linebacker. He played there for 3 years, found out he had a neck injury where if he was to take a hit, he would have just been paralyzed from the neck down. players finding life after football is always great to see. Always seeing them, flourish. And Zachary Orr, yes, it took a little bit, but he's there, and I think he could become a head coach, eventually down the line, a couple of years from now, or it could be sooner than we think. I don't know.
Well,
let's look at the schedule here, where the first one up here, big rematch, week 1 against the Bills, Sunday Night Football at Buffalo, the scene of the crime of Mark Andrews. Will he see the field? We don't know. But hey, that's a big one. The Lions, the big one on Monday Night Football. But then you have the Chiefs early on. You're not playing in a cold Arrowhead. Then you have, I thought that was 4 consecutive home games for a second. 3 technically consecutive home games, followed by 3 consecutive away games, and then followed by 3 consecutive home games. Well, who made this schedule? Oh my God. 3. What is this? The Wendy's, the meal that they can't do anymore because they're going to lose money? Wendy's 4 for 4. Oh, man. Yeah. Listen, hey, Thanksgiving night, Ravens and Bengals. That's eating up good. You're going to be eating up good. Maybe we'll be awake for that game. Who knows? Just got to lay off the turkey early on. And maybe the mashed potatoes. And maybe the stuffing.
0 shot.
Nope. Can't do that. Got to eat it. If it's in front of me, I have to eat it. I think this team honestly matches 12 wins again. Maybe 13.
Yeah, I think the revenge factor for a couple gets them an couple extra wins.
Yeah, week 1 I think is going to be really good. I think they can honestly just stomp all over the Browns week 2. Week 3, I think that's where it's going to get tricky here. At least the next 2 weeks there. Lions is going to be tricky depending on how they fare with their defensive and offensive coordinators leaving. And then Arrowhead, nonetheless, too, 425, 325 Central. But yeah, I'm not really scared of the Texans. The Rams, they're like that one West Coast team that could show up on the East Coast and play really well, especially for a 1:00 start. Yeah, they're going to put up like 60 points against the Bears, let's be honest here. Who knows what the Dolphins will be come week 9. Week 10, I don't know. I think that's their trap game of the year. Their trap game, I think, is definitely week 10 in Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Historically, if you play 3 straight road games, you win. You lose that third one almost every time.
That's fair. I have them at 11 wins. I have them at 12 wins if they need or do compete in week 18 against the Steelers there. If they feel 0 need to compete and rest everyone, whatever, then I could easily see them losing that, whatever, not a big deal, and it being 11 wins. So I have 11-12 based on that last week, pretty much. That's it.
I think go to plan. They might be able to sleepwalk their way to the division.
Kind of. Yeah, honestly, especially after we just went through all the Bengals, I think, are their only competitor in the division.
Because that's always the Bengals are the wild card of the division, period.
Yeah, it's true.
The wild card of the conference. If the Bengals are the Bengals,
yeah,
like who we think they always can be, like they'll compete for like first overall in the conference. If not, they'll be scrapping for a wild card.
I think that Thursday, I think the Thanksgiving game is huge. Because
fireworks galore.
I think the Ravens they perform in a night game pretty much every time. So I have them winning that game. If they were to lose that game against the Bengals, then okay, the Bengals may have a chance at division.
Well, isn't that the one, like, it's when the Bengals play the Ravens, it's like Joe Burrow has put up 3 historic performances and lost all 3?
Yeah,
it's like the only.
No, he put up one, like the first one in like his 2021 year. He put up and they like trounced them. But then the last year where he put up 800 yards and like 9 touchdowns, they lost.
Yeah, they lost both of them. That's what I'm saying. Like they put up 400 in both games.
It's true.
And like 3 or 4 touchdowns in both games, and lost both.
I'm sure one of them was in that game.
Yeah, Thursday night in Baltimore.
There you go.
So return to the scene of the crime.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. I don't like these Thursday night games in Baltimore for Joe Burrow because the first time he played in Baltimore, I don't know, that wrist injury happened, then he just like crumbled to the ground. Last year it was historic outing. Jamar Chase put up his record numbers, and then we got Thanksgiving this year. So,
well, the odds for them, according to the sports books, are gigantic. They have the second highest playoff percentage at 80.6%. They have the highest Super Bowl percentage on here.
the highest?
The highest Super Bowl percentage. They have projected 11.2 wins. And the only teams they're behind in playoff percentage and wins is the Bills. And the Bills always get that like, oh, let's rate them really high thing.
Yes.
And they've taken a step back. We know they've taken a step back. They're not the same Bills. But so you know, I kind of consider the Ravens maybe number one.
Again,
I'm not listening to the Bills propaganda
never will.
for the sports book.
The Bills propaganda.
So, yeah, I mean, this is top 3 team in the league, potentially top team in the league,
Yes.
but easy to call this the top 3 team in the league, and they've proven themselves. They've proven themselves regular season wise to be that. There's not really an argument against it, unless Lamar gets hurt, which hasn't been an argument in the past.
Unless Lamar fumbles a game away.
Well, that's playoffs though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what all that matters here.
Yeah, it is all that matters. But I'm saying, you know, for regular season, for what's on this screen right here, you know, I think they've proven themselves for that, and you will see a top team. So
I got nothing.
yeah, I think we've answered all those questions.
We've answered everything, but before we go, we have to bring back the most important 5th chair in all of sports.
Is it time for me to see if I'm punching Dom's monitor this year?
Yes, yes. The wheel of misfortune. Which division are we gonna go to next week?
All right, so I did it a little bit differently, and it might be more fun this way.
Oh god, it's gonna be like
bang. So we're gonna go AFC, NFC.
this sucks.
We're gonna go AFC, NFC.
That's not enough slices.
And then I'll do North.
We need
South,
more slices.
Didn't we always switch NFC, AFC each week?
Yeah, but then we saw the wheel was had a lot more enjoyment.
Well, too bad we're doing it this way. This is how
Yeah,
it is.
Click it.
You're
You
right.
gotta click it.
That's so valid. All right, and let's spin.
All right, where are we going?
Oh, the
Here we
sound.
go, and it no way.
Boom. So we're going to the AFC.
We're staying in the AFC.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Switch wheel. Which wheel am I on? This wheel. Boom. I got
All
a
right,
high.
you gotta remove north.
Bang. All right, ready?
Here we go. Here we go. Where are we gonna go this time around?
No, we're going to the boring ass south. You know it. You know that's what's happening, right?
These are
Get them the fuck done early. That's all I have to say. You need to get them out of the way, please.
these are three incredibly
We
different.
are giving the South 10 minutes each team this year. I am not going anywhere over. I am not going anything. Well, under would be good. Over, no, I'm not doing that. So let's spin the wheel, Dom. Which division are we talking about next week here in the AFC?
Yeah.
Here
These are three incredibly different episodes. Very different episodes.
we go. Here we go. Oh, no way. Oh, God. I got to talk to that.
Well, I will say, Trend puts your team the week after because we might be.
No, it doesn't.
It seems.
No,
that we're not
Dom's been the wheel before.
Honestly, with the day we get the South, we should just do the South the same day as our double record.
Yeah.
So I can't conclude the preseason tour with that. That's just illegal. We have to end on a bang somehow.
Ain't gonna be that.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that rounds out our show. You can follow us on all the social media platforms down below: YouTube for the Fan Network, TikTok for the Fan Network, X for the Fan _, and Instagram for the Fan Football. We have Bapple, we have Kermit the Frog back there. We got a bunch of jerseys above me. And yeah, that's it. Next week, AFC East, the Bills, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins are going to be talked about on this show. So, yes, gentlemen, any final thoughts? Anything exciting before I turn off the thing so Jake can punch a monitor?
No, only if I have to wait until September again.
For your team?
Well,
Yeah.
good thing it'll be like, what, August 18th? That would be the double recording day.
Yeah.
But if they're not picked though, then you have to wait for the next episode after, which would be like 10 minutes after.
Next week we get to talk about Cardi B.
Yep, and a mysterious pink substance in a bag on a boat in Miami. There we go. We get to talk about all that stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. Tune in next week. Thank you all so much.